tomorrow, and then if you got a question, just raise your hand and we'll get a microphone to you.
We're excited. It's here to start off the 25 season. We're super excited. Hosting Holy Cross. Those guys are coming in tonight and get started with the series tomorrow. I know we've talked about, and you guys have finally got a first-hand look before we started at Plainsman Park and all those renovations and how amazing everything is. It just to button it up, you know, basically we've had 34 sellouts the last 2 years. That's all but 3 SEC ball games. We're going to be able to offer now to our fans and Auburn family over 6,000 people per game to be able to come into Plainsman Park, the most ever before. So we're excited for those enhancements, those changes. I was blessed this morning to walk around with Coach Baird, that original desire of having those seats above that monster, that green wall, and then just seeing how the 984 Club have honored the 6 College World Series teams, and for him to see some of those photos, and for us to be here in 2025 as stewards of the program and be able to look back to somebody that had a vision for the program, and for us to still be in alignment with that was gratifying and pretty awesome. But you know, all that stuff is kind of put to a point now and put away, and it's time for our guys that have worked so hard to come out and start this 25 season and, you know, make a push to try to get to Omaha 3 times recently, and to hopefully get a 3rd regional at Plainsman Park. That would be pretty neat. And so we're going to aim as high as we possibly can and start that journey tomorrow.
Bill.
Butch, we were thinking about it yesterday, just looking back. I can't recall the last time your opening weekend, you're going to go with 3 guys that weren't even on the roster last year. I know you're excited about these guys. Just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
we are, and I think I've advertised to you guys what's most important for us and what would be the one thing that can get us back to being competitive at the highest level, and we said strike percentage. And I don't really know what the guys were throwing. I have immersed myself into this to, you know, in the past I feel like people say, what's he throwing? I go like 92, 93. Now I don't know. Now I can tell you if it's 67 or 68.34% strikes, and I love that. That's always been important to the game, and you're usually good at what you focus on. And those 3 guys are not just those guys won the race. Those guys won the game of driving strike percentage, and especially our Friday and Saturday night starters with Fisher and Dutton. That was 68% strikes overall and 67% strikes. So that's what our team needs to see. That was our focus. That's what our fans want to see is, you know, a couple of guys go out there and try to start a game and fill up the strike zone. Really don't have to do anything different. Just do what they've been doing for a consistent period of time to earn this opportunity.
Butch, when you've got a roster that's got so many freshmen on it who look like they could line up to be contributors, just how much do you foresee, whether it's this opening weekend or through non-conference play, just trying to get as many of those guys in and trying to get them opportunities?
We want to win, number one, and I think that's really important. It's never not, but I think it's really important now to get a rhythm going if we can. We're going to be matched with the 1958 College World Series champion in Holy Cross to have something to do with that. But what we're trying to do is to try to get some rhythm going and to get some winning going. I'd like to see that. I think playing 5 games in 6 days, 8 games in 10 days, or whatever it is, that'll force us to move, to use all these pieces and see some of these young guys in play. It definitely does it 8 games in 10 days. Will absolutely push us to use every pitcher that we think can help us get outs this year. And I think it absolutely gets all those guys. If we got 9 guys that we're going to start tomorrow, I think as you go through 8 games in 10 days, that's going to force you to probably use 13 or 14 position players at the end of those 10 days. And I think that's great. These guys have worked hard. They deserve that opportunity. I told them that playing time and development, that's what we've been doing for all these months, and now we want to get to having success and get off to a great start if we can. I want that to be the goal for us now, and we're not going to force anything, and we're not just going like, hey, I'd like to see him getting it battered too. You know, spring training's over. Tomorrow's game starts counting. Hopefully we're putting guys in games and giving them opportunities because we think they are the best person suited for us to have success in that situation.
Jason.
But you got a lot of options on the mound besides those starters. you just mentioned eight games in 10 days. How important is that to start to flesh out some roles for guys as you try to get to Hayden Murphy at the end?
Yeah, I want to see everybody the same. And you mentioned Murphy at the end. He gets first crack at that and is prepared and ready. And that's when we've been good. Really not just my time at Auburn. That's when I've been good at anywhere over these 4 stops in the SEC, when you have a Blake Burkhalter type, or you have a Cody Greenhill type, or you have an SEC saves leader like Holder, or you have a Will Startup. I just think back to the years, catching's always really important, and really somebody at the back end of the ball game. And if you'd say from last year's club, what would make the biggest difference, when you get to the 7th, 8th, and 9th, every run, every 90 feet you give up, there's sincere consequences. That's what the ball club learned last year. And you just can't give up runs late. Your percentages of having success and winning go way down. So the teams that have understood that, and the teams that have somebody there that can close and finish, you can see the difference. And we think Hayden has grown and gotten into that point where he's absolutely rock solid and ready to be that guy for us. That would help a ton. But a couple lefties that come to mind with that strike percentage still in mind is a Carson Myers that had a few starts, played every role, but I love him in that middle role as a left-hander coming in and rolling through the middle innings. Jackson Sanders, we're so excited, one of those freshmen, and we just think he has a pitch or two that's real, and we think he gets ready quick, kind of like John Armstrong does for us, and come in and just shove it in the strike zone, a couple lefties, and I'm thinking about Alvarez, it'll probably get a start, but if he don't start till potentially Wednesday, maybe we could get him an inning and get his college career started, because again, he's driving strike percentage. Like Tilly, Watts, those are guys that I'm thinking about. They're that long relief that we've trained as a starter and got them to 40, 50 pitches. And then, I'm feeling like some trusted guys have taken a step. Parker Carlson, Ben Shore, John Armstrong's been around for a while. Can those be 3 pieces that can get us in and out of an inning, or a jam, or a wipeout, to turn it over to some of these long pieces, or to get it to Murphy in the back end?
Right.
Butch, what's sort of the plan at right field and DH for this weekend?
I would say what we're rewarding, I talked about running home to first, but at the end of the day, in construction of a lineup, I think what we're trying to do is to protect our best hitters. Is it our 9 best hitters? I don't know. I guess the goal would be what we're going to do in the starting lineup are the guys that we thought defined having above average SEC glove and bat, both, not just toting one of the 2 skills. So that's how we'll start. I think Ike will be behind the plate, McMurray at first, just tomorrow's lineup, if you will. Snow or Fabian going back and forth, one's at second, one's at short, Gavar at third. Back and forth with Blue and Carter being center field, left field, and then that right field is kind of going to be a revolving door. We're going to see a right-handed starter. So Bub Terrell swung it great. He's actually had some great left-handed bats, and has just played defensively. So I feel like that's our best way to cover 3 acres and still try to produce and have a dominant offense. And we're definitely going to try to put our high strike percentage throwers out there for the vast majority of game 1. DH still. We love the flexibility, and we love his track record of all the guys he's knocked in for a couple of years. I love the switch hitting when you start talking about protecting and guys starting to flip and go to left-handed. It allows us to split that up. I feel like Guevara, right-handed bat that's hit the ball so good, can just get in between Ike and McMurray and Ballou and Terrell, as we put some length to those left-handers throughout the lineup, so still get the first crack at that tomorrow.
And for your catchers, especially Ike and Cale, how much would you like to see those guys call their own games this year, Butch?
Yeah, 100%. All of it. I think we help, like traditionally when we've done this in the past with the run your own show concept, we're still there to help. I think the running game is the biggest way that if you're going to have pitchers and catchers calling their own game, that the coaching staff can help maybe in a premium situation, rarely, sometimes. If you feel like a guy just hadn't been in that situation enough, or we're seeing something glaring over there. But I think it's mainly with the running game. Good time to pick here. You feel like a catcher that feels all that weight of his shoulders where he's calling the game. I think sometimes with the running game is the biggest way you can help them, of like, pick here, pick there. You should be and what we do is we do patterns and we do, categorizing runners. So we've prepared. These guys have been, instead of just practicing and just waiting for us to show up and be the brain, we've tried to teach them what the brain's supposed to look like and put this in different categories. So my goal, I guess, doing this in the past, and hopefully we get better with it, which we will, which we always have. But I guarantee you there'll probably be 10 or less pitches. There'll be a lot of pitches probably thrown opening weekend. That'll probably be called from the dugout. I really think it's, hopefully these pitchers are prepared this week to know what they want. The other thing, when you're calling your own game, your awareness when you're in the bullpen right before you hit the field on game day, sometimes your stuff, you're like, this is who I am and this is what my pitches are. But when it sets up in that bullpen, you're tied to more awareness when you have to make decisions with it. So I think that's one of our secrets and why we've had so many guys, go on and play 16 big leaguers in 10 years, is because their awareness is heightened. They run their own show, and when they figure out and can navigate through a good lineup 2 or 3 times, it's their confidence. It's not the coach's confidence in figuring this thing out.
Coach, starting with this weekend's opening series, what can fans expect from this 2025 group?
Yeah, I want them to play hard and play free. I would say that's the biggest thing. I think these guys care so much. I think the last time I was with you guys, I reported that we're going to run as hard as we can to first base. We're going to drive the strike percentage. I think the one thing for me as a coach recently is these guys I thought they cared too much. And they're like, they want to rebound so much, the guys that are returning. And then you got 21 players that have never played a game. And I just, how can I keep them playing with freedom? I think that's the biggest thing that I have right now is like, man, these people have supported you. I mean, these people have absolutely continued to, this Auburn family has absolutely been a bridge for you. So we got you. And I want them to find the freedom in that and play their best baseball. Anything other where they feel like they got to show something or do something extra and squeeze a little bit tighter is not going to be the outcome that we want. So I would say me and Gabe and Carl and Tiford and Fox, the biggest thing I've been talking to them the last week is like, man, get these guys freed up, because I'm 54 and will still feel the butterflies of an opening day because it's awesome. It's beautiful. But I'm thankful for that. And I want them to understand that. That means I still care. That means I should still be in the frame. I would imagine when you're absent of that feeling, you probably need to go do something else. So I know what they're going to feel, and it's never going away. They're going to have to deal with that during their career, a job someday, if they're big leaguers. The thing is, you'd be thankful if you continue to feel that way when you start a journey. That's what you're looking for.
Jeff?
Your team elected 5 captains.
Yep.
Can you talk about the leadership that those guys bring?
Yeah, I love that the players voted for that. I always try to preempt every conversation about them. Ike's really, to me, grown as a leader, and I think that makes him an even more complete player. To see where he was at, he was able to hit when he walked in the door, just like Ryan Bliss was able to play when he walked in the door, et cetera, et cetera. But where Ike has grown defensively as a catcher, I think it makes him a potential top 10 overall pick. Won't talk about that no more. But to me, it's the leadership stuff as a head coach to allow him to be able to run their show. I mean, there's no way I would have given him that 2 years ago, and he sat behind a good guy like Nate LaRue and learned a lot of that. And he saw Nate be able to do that at a very high level. So he's embraced that. He's been begging for that, wanting that. So he's been an amazing leader. Was a landslide, probably got the most votes. Cooper McMurray coming back for a 3rd year has just put up numbers, but he's always been a leader, just natural born. And Fabian would be in that group. Fabian in his 2nd year. Sometimes when you're 1st year coming from another program, you're like, I can't just walk in the clubhouse and take over. Now he's comfortable because he's got all those gifts like Coop does, but now he's comfortable, I think, in his 2nd year. And then, Parker Carlson and Ben Shore. Ben Shore hadn't pitched a whole lot, but I mean, he's one of the most important people in our program. Those players have absolutely run through a wall for him and what they think about being. And Parker's the same way. Parker's a guy that's just absolutely persevered. Both those guys got appearances, and both those guys, like I mentioned a while ago, I think can really help us. But I'm not going to allow these 5 to miss the mark of what that is to be a legacy member. They're going to have to think about others. And I think if they can really dive into thinking about everybody on the team, that might take a little pressure off themselves in what they're trying to do. So, I'm ecstatic about those 5.
Last one, Adam.
Butch, you mentioned Coach Barrett. No, he was around for kind of the initial renovation in the 90s at Plainsman Park, but just as you've gone through this process since it got approved and constructed and now you're here, just what has it been like in conversations with Coach Barrett, just being two of the coaches who have been around for some of the biggest overhauls in the history of this facility?
I mean, he's had a hand in the program the whole time I've been here. Whether I'm walking with him in the morning or whether we're talking on the phone, the vocabulary of the people he knows, the experiences that he has been invaluable. He's continued to be a point person like a Paul, a guy with wisdom that could just have helped me. So, but those initial visions of his were huge. They did such a good job with this ballpark when they built it. We were able, half of our league has spent twice as much money the last 6 or 7 years. Half of our league has spent twice as much money as we just invested because the world's changed and all these different things. So we're able, because this was built so good, that we didn't have to start over. And when you guys just toured and looked at the 984 Club, it looks like it's been there forever. That's how good a job they did. And like I said, just that vision of getting those seats above the monster of something that he wanted, I thought it was important. It's been rainy a little bit the last couple of days. I'm so glad we were able to do that on a beautiful morning before the season started. But etched in stone. Coach Nix, I mean, that's the other guy's got a couple World Series before Coach Baird there. Our mayor come out yesterday morning, hadn't been out a lot because his dad and baseball was such a big deal to him, it's been hard to walk back through the door. Him walking back through our door and seeing all this stuff. I get a good seat to see some of this stuff, and it's amazing and it's special for me to be able to do that. So I want everybody to feel like we're good stewards. It was built so good the first time that I think they stretched this. Our players got some stuff out of it, student athletes. The premium spaces are gorgeous to drive by all the way around, but I still, Stone did an amazing job, CDFL did an amazing job, and I thought for what we were dealing with, we got an amazing facility, and we're not trying to be like others. The best version of us is what we got with this iteration, and that's good enough for all of us.
All right, thank you, guys.